what do you see as like a hole in your armor a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just, if I'm trying to get at the level of the world tour and be at that level, these guys are able to do these massive efforts. I have that ability that I think is really good at 5 to 12 minutes, but they can also do that after 3,000, 4,000 kilojoules, 4 hours of racing. So I think that's my main objective is to just get better at that, be able to get that fatigue resistance. Um, I think for now that's a bit of like a hole in my armor for sure, but um, I think I have some of the watts to be there and watts per kilo. But yeah, it's just getting that fatigue resistance is what I'm yeah, currently working on in my training. So
Do you think you get, oh, so you said it actually trained. I was gonna say, do you think you get better in that from these longer road races, or do you do specific, hey, I'm gonna go out and ride 3,000 kj and then I'm gonna go do a 4x10 3. Do you have any like end of the day sessions that you think are helping you with that?
yeah, totally. Exactly. Like going into US Pro Nationals had a lot of training that was almost, I mean, most of my training I do anyways, unless it's a shorter ride, it's after 2.5, 3 hours.
Mhm.
But like
Mhm.
coming into Pro Nationals, I had several sessions that were yeah, after 3,000 kilojoules, and I was like, all right, now I'll start the 3 by 10 minute interval.
You're doing these like super hard or like your 8 to 12 minute 30-30s. You do that towards the end of the day.
Yeah,
Wow.
normally always at I think I don't yeah, most of my I've only had a
Where'd you
couple
get that
rides.
from? Sorry to cut you off. Where'd you get that from? Is that something you've always done, or somebody was like, do it this way?
I've kind of just been working on that because just also I take a while to just like get going on a ride. So I kind of like at least an hour before I do some intervals. But I've always just been like, all right, I got to get this fatigue resistance at the end of the race is when it counts. Especially like um, the Oak Glen stage at Redlands. It's kind of a pretty basic stage until the final climb, and then you got to go full gas. So it's just like preparing for these races where, all right, at the end, or Joe Martin stage two, you finish up Mount Sequoia. It's pretty basic just in the peloton before, and then you got to go really hard 3 or 4 hours into the race. So it's just kind of been out of preparing for the races.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's a good benefit too, is then you're really thinking about your fueling during your training. Even if you're just doing zone two for 2 hours or 3 hours before your intervals, you really make sure then you're not absolutely smashing it at that power that's a little too hard. You're making sure you're staying topped off on your carbohydrates, your nutrition, your hydration.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, in a sense, you have that, if it's pressure or stress in your head, and like, all right, I got to make sure I actually can finish my and do my intervals today. All right, I'm gonna eat, 90 grams of carbs this, every hour this ride, even though I feel like I don't need to, and I feel like I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
filling up. But this is what needs to happen, and I think that'll help you just for the race too, because then you get in that habit. So, just like bringing a bunch of things together, um, I think kind of doing the later stuff works out. So.